the shirt that this is the hoodie that Sean got me for winning the league. It's pretty nice.
I can't see anything.
You can't.
All I see is
Oh, oh, I got that
your
stupid.
background
All
thing.
right. Well, you can look at it on the stream.
Okay.
It's really
What
cool.
does it say?
It's just a Cowboys hoodie.
Okay, cool.
I got it. I got it. I got Sean to order it one day before I denounced my rights to liking the Cowboys.
I know, right?
Let me turn on this other computer real quick.
Boy,
Oops.
I thought that's how they spelled that. Yep.
I need to get a new. I need to get a new keyboard.
Yeah.
I spilled Big Red on it, and now the space bar is real spongy.
Oh, that's the worst.
I've been wanting to get a mechanical one. Did you end up getting a keyboard?
Yeah,
What'd
it's
you
okay.
what'd you end up getting?
Like it came with the system.
Oh, okay, okay, sure.
Um, I kind of don't like it.
They've got at Target. They've got the Razer brand ones. I need to kind of research because I've got a Razer microphone that I really like,
Yeah.
and so I'm like, oh, let's. I wonder if their mechanical keyboards are good because they're not super expensive. Like they've got like their introductory one is like I think it's $45. I was like, that's
Okay.
I can do that. Uh,
I know this sucker's stiff and like I was trying to work over the weekend, and as one would, you would make a mistake, and every time you're trying to hit the delete button, and it's so stiff. Like I'm
yeah,
like, why will my pinky not push the delete
yeah.
button down?
The only thing I don't like about the mechanical style keyboards is they're loud as hell.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. And also I since I
Oh,
don't
like this thing.
yeah, since I don't and that's the thing is that I don't play a ton of PC games on keyboard and mouse.
Sure.
And so I like wireless a lot cuz it doesn't take up a USB slot. Or I should say it takes up one because
Yeah.
of it's for both.
A dongle.
Yeah, the little dong.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a little mouse with it too,
Yeah.
and it's cool. But at the same exact, I'm on the same boat with you. Is that I'm trying in attempts to streamline. It's taking up one of my USB ports, and
Yeah. Yeah, and
um,
you don't use a ton of mouse and keyboard for games either on PC. You're mostly a controller guy. Unless it's a game that just absolutely needs mouse and keyboard, right?
yeah, yeah. No, I'm
Like
actually
you're playing Cyberpunk on a controller, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm actually
I
on
figured.
the market because obviously it's still a 360 controller, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to decide myself if like do I want to get an Xbox One controller because I know it feels really good and
So the I would actually get a Series X controller.
okay.
The new one, the newest one. It's the same price as the one.
Hmm. Oh, well, there you go.
I think it's a really good iteration on the Xbox One controller, which I think is the best controller ever made. I mean, you could always spend $180 and get an Elite.
That's why the PS5 controller looks a lot like the 360 controller.
Yeah, except they don't have the offset sticks.
Yeah.
I wish it had offset sticks. Okay. Let's do this.
Stardew Valley.
So good. Oh, Stardew Valley. We can't talk about this. We can't do it. We can't. Um, let me. Texted Nick. I'm gonna text Ryan too. All right. Um, you ready?
Ori. Yeah, I'm ready.
Or in the Blind Forest. Great game.
Mm-hmm.
I should play more of that game. All right. Episode 23. Episode 23. Okay. Here we go.
Season 2, episode
Yeah,
2.
season 2, episode 2.
However you want to phrase it.
I'm just gonna say episode 23. If I go off script, I'm gonna screw
The
something
wheels
up.
will wobble and we'll be
I
off
mean, look,
track
it's
immediately.
gonna wobble enough. I don't need it to continue to do that. All right, take a sip of my water.
Sip of my coffee.
You can take a sip of my coffee. I was real quick. I was messing with my son, doing the way the you know how he'll say words and add syllables on them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He was doing that earlier. Harrison was. He was saying he was trying to say fart, but he was basically saying fjart, like fuat. And I kept getting him to repeat it, and he got angry, kind of like Dr. Maxwell would when he was just like, I'm saying fart, not fart. And he was just like, I was like, okay, all right, well, that's good. That's pretty funny. All right, we're gonna do
At least
this.
he didn't go to, by calling you a bitch at that high squealing.
I said fart, bitch. Yeah, I can't get that high. I can't.
I can't.
I can't do it. All right, here we go. We're gonna do this in 5, 4, 3, and. Hey everyone, it is Tuesday, January 12th, 2020, yuck. And it is time for the MC Gamescast. I am one of your hosts, Mitchell Barrett. It's great to be back, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, my co-host is here with me, Charlie Zarzuela. What's up, buddy?
Hey, everybody. How are you?
So subdued.
You think it's still 20 and 20 yuck? Ready to turn that channel yet?
Yeah, 2021 hadn't been a great
we're all
start.
ready to turn that channel.
Yeah, it's not.
It seems like social society is not allowing it.
No,
to.
yeah, we with COVID and the issues in Washington D.C. I don't think.
Let's talk about Polly.
Yeah. Now we're going to spend 2 hours talking about the events of last Wednesday. No, we are absolutely not going to do that. Yeah, it's Tuesday, episode 25 of the MC Gamescast, which is titled
23.
That's what I said, 23. And this episode is called Why Yes, Stadia Does Still Exist.
Cannot believe that's the title of this thing.
I couldn't.
It's good.
I couldn't look, man. It's been a fucking week, and you know it. Year-end close is over, Charlie. Thank God for that.
Oh, thank the Lord.
I don't want to talk about work because I know you don't either. But let's talk about our weekends. Charlie, tell me about your weekend.
I watched 6 football games all on mute while slowly developing a cramp in my right hand. No, that's not a jerk-off joke. I wish it was. God bless.
I wish it was too.
Used more mouse movement through spreadsheets. People who work in offices and accounting understand this, especially for year-end. It sucks. But I'm holding my own, we didn't get snow. I was very, very. I try to be optimistic about that because I'm working in my man cave, opening my little window, staring outside to see little flakes falling down. I'm like, it's snowing. No, not anymore. And I mean, it was, let's be honest, it wasn't even cold enough to stick, but
Yeah.
it's kind of sad that I'm seeing like on social media or in other forums and areas, like even on the news, they're like, oh, look at this person in Mansfield, they had like all this snow, and you just see their entire like winter wonderland coated in white, and it's just wet here.
Look, I feel like that I am a northerner that his body is trapped in this guy that lives in Texas. I wish I lived in the north. I wanted snow so bad that when it didn't happen, I was legitimately pissed off the whole day on Sunday. And Charlie, if you don't mind, I've got a little bit of a science lesson on why we didn't get the snow. It wasn't necessarily because the temperature. It's because in major metropolitan areas such as our own, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there is generally a big pocket of dry air that hovers way up in the sky above the area. It's a natural thing, and it's much thicker. I guess not thicker, but it's a much bigger uh, pocket of dry air than over your rural areas, and it has to break through that dry air, creating the more moist air for it to snow, and it did not do that. um, I am
Thank you, Pete.
I was very disappointed. I'm not happy with Pete Delkus. I love you, Pete, but I hate you. I was very disappointed. I really wanted it to snow really bad, but it didn't. And it just reminded me this is where I live. So, other than that, I didn't do
December
much.
33rd. We were December. No, I'm sorry, December 43rd.
December 43rd, 20 and 20. And you are listening to the... No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, and you got anything else about what's been going on? Or should we let's just fucking get in it?
Oh, I
Or...
did want to. Oh, I did want to say something I didn't get to share with you guys because of stuff and others, and I opened my Instapot not too long ago, and I told you guys I made chili.
Yes.
Dude, I've got a recipe for you for pulled pork.
Fucking hell yeah!
I did not think that anything can outdo my smoker regarding pulled pork, especially, in the time and taste element. Boy, the Instapot I am fast becoming a huge fan of that thing. Bought like a six pound pork shoulder with the bone in.
Mm-hmm.
Had to cut that sucker in like 3-inch cubes and stick that bad boy in there, and it was about, like, from prep to plate, maybe an hour 15, hour 30.
Yes.
Which for 6 pounds of pork, that's extremely quick.
Yes.
And obviously, had the rub, had the good stuff, had the Stubbs spicy barbecue.
Hell yeah.
It's delish, man. And yeah, like I said, I'm gonna wear that Instapot out before the end of this year.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. I bought an air fryer over the weekend.
Yeah.
And as you'll do when you buy a new appliance like that, you've done that with your Instapot. You make shit. Even when you're not necessarily hungry, you just kind of make you test it. You test things out. So I did many different things. I did your typical, I have mozzarella sticks. So you make mozzarella sticks, and they were good. They were really good. But the thing that it did the best, that one, I was surprised about, and two, I think this is the only way I'm going to ever eat it. It makes the most perfect bacon you will ever eat. It cooks it so evenly.
I never thought you'd go there.
Dude, it's so good.
All right.
And then on top of that, the way that it cooks, it's way less greasy. Like it doesn't, you don't have just the mountains of grease that you have to dab out and everything. It's great. I'm gonna do various things with it. It's I made some chicken wings.
Really?
As I put in the Discord, I made some chicken wings that turned out really good.
Excellent.
Food is great. It's probably the only good thing about this year so far. Also, I'll just say this: it's great to be back after my week off. I'm glad to be here.
Good to have you back, man.
Yeah, I'm in a good mood. Shout out to Josh
Sound
for filling in on
everyone was asking about
short notice. Yeah, everything's good. It was just it was a weird New Year, and just yeah. I don't need to get into it. But it's good to be back. And one of the reasons it's good to be back is that I actually played some fucking games.
Oh,
And yeah. Uh,
tell us about Rocket League.
uh, well, so I played Rocket League. I mean, of course I did. It's we're kind of getting into the kind of the second quarter of the season. It's going good. I'm not progressing as quick as I want to. Just kind of have kind of the ups and downs right now. I'm on a big upswing. I've won 14 straight competitive games. Feeling good. Shout out to Nick and my brother. But yeah, so I've been playing that. But I started a new series on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Team Llama Squad, and Charzar81.
Nice.
Twitch.tv/Charzar81. One of my favorite games of last generation is Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I was looking for something to kind of mix things up, which meant do anything but Rocket League. And I had been wanting to kind of go back and do another playthrough of that game, so I did. I bought it, and I had to buy another. I had to buy a Pro controller because my Joy-Cons are so completely fucked up. So I went with the actual Nintendo Pro controller, and it's a fantastic controller. It's very good.
Yeah.
I don't love the triggers. They're not as like the bumpers are fine, but the back triggers are very clicky. And I kind of like how the Xbox and the PlayStation controllers are a little bit more. You have to kind of push down more. It's a good controller.
Can I see that thing again?
Yeah. I don't know how this plays for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I would love it if it was a little bit bulkier. It's it's a good controller, and the motion's really good on it.
Okay.
That game is so good. It was when I started playing it, and it immediately felt amazing. It looks great. It's still the intro is really good about showing you the ropes of that game, like all Nintendo games do. It's such a fantastic game. I don't know what to really say about a game that won a lot of Game of the Year awards back in the year it was released, and is one of the known as one of the best games of the generation. Other than to say, I'm so glad to be playing that game again. I mean, it's kind of like it's. I kind of feel like you have been when getting back into Fallout 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like you kind of fell right back into that game very quickly, and it puts you back in that place when you were playing it. That's kind of what Breath of the Wild is doing for me. There's such a great sense of exploration, much like Fallout, and I'm having a good time. I've already fallen into my open world bullshit of what if I went over here instead of doing the main quest, because there's these shrines that you do, and they're like these little kind of puzzly things that you get upgrades for your grip and your stamina, and it's very much I wonder what happens if I go over here instead of doing the main quest. And so my open world brain is broken, and it always will be, and that's just how I am with those big games. I mean, like it's kind of why sometimes I kind of avoid playing those games at times. It's just I get so wrapped up in side stuff, and it's pretty crazy. So that's great. I'm going to continue that series. I'm going to try to do that twice a week, do a Friday and then another day. So that's been a good time. So the other thing that I messed
Question.
with. Yes, yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Before we move on,
Charlie,
what you messed with? Did you start all the way over, or
Yes, I started completely over. I finished that game back in 2017. I did almost all of the shrines. I had some missing, and I did a pretty good portion of the seeds that you collect, which there's apparently almost 1,000 of those, so I was never going to get all of them anyway.
Oh wow.
So I don't know if I'm going to do a 100% run of this with the shrines. I'd kind of like to, because I had such a great time doing that before, and I feel like that's something I'm going to do. Yeah, it's really cool going back, and it's been long enough where I've kind of forgotten a lot of it.
Well, that's
So
good. So
so
it
like
feels new again.
yeah, like of course, as events have taken place in the early stages, I've been like, oh yeah, that's right, we do this. But there are a lot of things where it's like, oh, I remember this. And one thing that game does very well, and that a lot of games have a hard time doing, that's not to say that there aren't some that can. The way that it gives you these tools to solve problems, whether it's just, oh, there's a group of enemies, well, oh, but they're so you can throw bombs at them. You can with your magnetic power, you can pick up metal barrels and go and drop them on top of people. You can, oh, there's a hornet nest over there. Well, I'm going to shoot the hornet nest with my bow and arrow and cause the hornets to chase the enemy. Or, oh, I've got these bomb arrows. I'm going to shoot the flame in the middle, and it causes it to have a big explosion, which will take out almost all of, like, the tools they give you to do just to solve even the smallest of tasks is really interesting. And it's kind of another thing that I really want to do is kind of take a deep dive into what can I do? What weird thing? I saw a thing today where there's a guy who his bit is that he does trick shit.
I think I know what you're talking
Did
about.
you
I think I saw it too, but keep going, keep going.
Was it the thing you saw today? The
I
arrow?
think it was. Yes.
14.
Oh my god.
So this guy is standing at the broken down Temple of Time at the beginning of the game. And he's standing at in the bell tower, and he's kind of looking out. Well, he jumps out of the window, and he's got his shield, which in the game you can use your shield as kind of like a surfboard.
Yeah.
Well, so he does a thing. There's a thing called stasis where you can freeze an item, and then you hit it a bunch of times, and the direction that you hit it, it will propel it forward. So he does that to the shield. Then he jumps on the shield. Then he pauses time, pulls out his bow and arrow, aims up in the air, and lets it fly.
Yep.
At that point, the stasis unlocks, shoots him on the shield forward, so he's able to follow the arrow as it's in the air. And it's such a cool cinematic thing. Because he's sitting there watching, and the arrow's just kind of like, and it's going, and then it lands on one of the big, giant, kind of spidery guardians, blows up, and kills the guardian. Well, he figured using kind of some glitches and basically kind of a way to measure distance, that he shot that arrow over 1,400 meters.
Yeah.
Which, basically that's a mile. And he shot it exactly where he wanted. If you ever, Charlie, I know you're a big fan of rabbit holes on YouTube. I feel like it's like once every 2 weeks or so, you're like, I went down this rabbit hole. If you ever want a badass video game rabbit hole, go down the Zelda Breath of the Wild trick rabbit hole. Some of the stuff these people do is, one, it makes you go, how did they ever think about this? How did they ever think that this was possible? And then how the hell did they do it? It's incredible. Anyway, Breath of the Wild's great. It's a fantastic game. Cool. Everybody should play that game if they like adventure stuff. So one of the jokes of this podcast, Charlie, is that we always joke. I'm sorry. Also, I like to apologize in advance, Charlie, that I'm spoiling your bit. With this thing. We always talk about how it's hilarious that the Google Stadia, exist.
Yes.
Google Stadia is the streaming game service by Google that you purchase games and you play them off of Google's server, and it is streamed to your device, whether it's your computer. You can have it streamed to your phone, your iPad, Google Chromecast Ultras, and soon other places. And we joked about it. We're just like, oh, it's funny, it's hilarious. Well, I decided to go ahead and try this out. I've been wanting to try out kind of the streaming style media just to see, and I thought, with how much we joke about the Stadia, go for it. So the Stadia has a thing has a service called Stadia Pro, which is for $9.99 a month. You can stream up to 4K, and you get access to I think it's like 30 games. Think Game Pass, PlayStation Now, whatever.
All right.
And you get a 30-day trial. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this 30-day trial. I have access to these games. I just want to test it. I want to test the latency. I want to test the controller latency to the games. I want to see how these games look and perform.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And so I chose two to look at. I chose the two, what I felt are the two most graphically impressive games that are on that list, and the ones that have the most input needed to play the game. Like, you're using the controller to really play the game. And the first one I tried was PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, PUBG. That had the weird thing of you're streaming the game to yourself, but it's also an online game. And so I thought, I was like, this will be interesting to see how this performs. And I was playing on a Xbox One controller on my PC in a browser, just a Chrome browser. My PC is hardwired to the internet, and so I had what you would consider the best way to play Stadia. And I came away playing, and we'll get to the other game in just a moment because there's actually a little bit more to it, to the other game I chose. I was very impressed with it.
Whoa, okay.
I had
We need some crow on this, aren't we?
I don't think we're going to eat crow, because I think the reason why we keep talking about how it's hilarious that Stadia still exists, because it doesn't seem like anybody plays it. It's not necessarily that we're sitting here, it's like, oh, it sucks.
It's the Neo Geo.
But I had no lag. I had no input latency at all. Everything I did on my controller, it did it in the game. That version, I haven't played the actual true PC version. That version is the best version of PUBG I've played.
Wow.
It plays really well. I almost won 2 games. I felt like the shooting was really good. And it looked really good. It looks like a game that you would play, maybe not on ultra, but it's like high settings. Like it looks great in 1080. There's not much in the way of kind of that streaming kind of hitchiness look to it. It looks really good. So that played really well. The other thing that I played on it was Hitman.
Oh. You played Hitman.
I played Hitman. I played Hitman on Stadia. I played Hitman on Stadia. And again, much like PUBG. Now, in this case, you're not playing online. So you're only worrying about, just the streaming part of it. It looks fantastic. It plays fantastic. I think I'm going to keep playing Stadia.
Okay.
Um, a couple things I don't like, and it doesn't have anything to do with the service. This is more of or like how the service runs. This is more about me being kind of apprehensive of actually spending money on a game. I want to be able to try this stuff out before I buy it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting there and I was looking at, okay, what if once everything kind of gets ironed out with Cyberpunk, what if I got the Stadia version of Cyberpunk? Because everything I've read is that the Stadia version of Cyberpunk is actually a good version of that game. It plays really well. Like it has the bugs that the PC version has, because I mean it's basically the PC version. But it's every bit as stable as the PC version. And if your computer if your internet can run it, it runs great, and you don't have to have a big badass system.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I still don't want a big badass system, but right now I could play that stuff. But there's a part of me that's like, there's this new technology. I don't know if I want to go full bore and pay $60 for a game.
Yeah,
I wish
that's the rub there.
I wish what they would do is they would let you do like 15 to 20-minute trial. You play the game for 20 minutes. You can get as far as you can in 20 minutes, and then once that 20 minutes is up, it's like, hey man, buy this if you want it, and then you move on. Because the selection on the Stadia Pro is, there's some good stuff on there, but it's not super deep like your Game Pass or PlayStation Now. But I can report that that son of a bitch works,
There you
and
go.
works in a way that I'm actually really intrigued to try playing like they had Assassin's Creed Valhalla on sale for like $40. I almost bought it on Stadia. Almost bought it. I was like, I should finish Origins
You
first
probably should finish Origins
and then maybe play
first. That's
Odyssey
my
after
thought.
that. But I almost bought it there. It's cool. I don't think we need to stop our joke, because I think the joke is still funny.
I mean, word has to go out. Like it's like you said. I honestly think a lot of people don't play this because it's so far in the background compared to, like the huge event that we just, experienced with all the console releases. And obviously, Nintendo's been a hometown name for, gosh, decades
Yeah.
now. And so when you come out with this Stadia thing, like it's just like, oh yeah, Google's kind of trying to do a thing, and like
Yeah.
you hear about it, but then it's kind of that it's off the podium, it's off the medal stand. So
Yeah,
uh,
well,
you know,
and I think another thing, and actually, funny enough, there's a thing that I'm going to talk about in scatter shooting later that kind of relates to this. You know, streaming gaming is very new. Just like back in the day, back in the 360 era, um, digital games were new, and it took a long time for us to be like, so there's not a disc. That's weird that there's no disc. There's no physical media. There's no this. And digital took a long time to get big enough. I mean, you remember going to the store and buying a PC game in those big stupid boxes.
oh my god,
Now,
the battle chest.
yeah, right. The battle chest that the
Oh
box.
man,
All right,
that
a
makes me
the
sad.
battle chest for StarCraft that was 3 feet by 1.5 feet.
Oh my god,
Oh
those.
god, so good, the Diablo battle chest.
Like,
It was all Blizzard stuff. But as I'll talk about later in scatter shooting, digital media, that's now big. Well, streaming video gaming is at its infancy, and it's going to it's going to continue to get bigger and bigger. Microsoft is
it's
working on
gonna
their
grow.
stuff, and Sony's kind of dabbled in it a little bit with the PlayStation Now stuff. And it seems like that service has kind of gotten better over time. It was bad at the beginning, and it sounds like Stadia was bad at the beginning, but it looks like it's kind of stabilized. And it's an interesting way to play this stuff, because it's kind of that intro to, you don't have to spend a bunch of money
Yeah.
on video games, on a console or even a PC if you don't want to. I could play Hitman with a controller on my phone if I wanted to. I just would pair my controller to my phone and I could play Hitman just fine on the phone if my internet connection works. So anyway, it's great. I think it's really cool, and I think we should still do the joke, but I think the joke isn't real anymore because
Yeah.
I think it's really
I
neat what
mean,
that thing is doing.
there's the caveat right there is that, like you said, if the internet bandwidth is good enough, my concern, I'm trying to think from a person who doesn't have much money, would still like to play video games, and my first thought is to a person who lives in the dorm, is in college, or is even in high school,
Right.
and he's he or she is poor, and I don't know. I remember playing in the dorms a couple of times because obviously I commuted, but I remember it was, hit or miss because, well, I mean, at the time we were doing Ethernet parties and Ethernet cords, and you got Cat 5s going all over the place,
Oh yeah.
down the hallways half the time, just so you can get a good land based party going.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure how the networks are in those dorms to sustain gameplay at,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, like at a high level. If you want to lower the settings, that's
Yeah,
fine.
and that's the thing is they've got the different settings. You can go down to
Yeah,
720p.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I do like the titles though. I'm just looking right now on the Stadia Pro website. They've got some decent titles. You have both
yeah,
of the Hitmans. You have Human Fall Flat, which is kind of cool. Obviously,
it's a cool game.
PUBG.
That's a great game.
Steam World Digs are great.
Yeah,
Sniper Elite
yeah.
4.
There's a
Super Hot is on here. So
super hot. Yeah,
it's
no,
definitely not
yeah,
without its
yeah, and
Triple H
well, and
titles.
look, in like 2 or 3 years, this is where Game Pass is going to be. You're going to be able to play Game Pass on a Roku. You're going to be able to play, hopefully Sony gets to that place too, where PlayStation Now, you can play it on you can play it on your Apple TV and link a controller to it. You know, I think that's where this is going to go because I think what you're going to start to find is there's going to be a lot of people that have the internet capability to do this, and they're going to be less likely to spend the money on these consoles, which is why Microsoft putting out the Series S was such a smart move for them because they were like, what if we put this console out that can play all the new stuff but is the perfect Game Pass and perfect streaming setup? And so that's going to be big. Anyway, it's cool. And it's really neat that works and that's an option out there. And that one of these days I'm going to buy a triple A, game that came out in the last year or so to, and see. Hopefully they'll put more demos out for that stuff. Just because again, I just want to test it. So anyway, so that's what I've been
Yeah,
playing.
don't
Charlie,
knock it until you tried it.
Charlie, what have you been playing?
I have literally been playing since the last time we introduced the first episode of this season. I have not touched any video games whatsoever, save one. Um, I've been looking at this game a lot in my deep Steam library. Good Lord, it's amazing how much
And it's
Steam sales you can
deeper.
just accumulate, and it keeps getting deeper.
You're never
But
gonna catch up.
no, I'm not. I'm unless I, win the lottery and never work again. And even then, I don't think I'll do that. But still, no. There's this game that I tried a long time ago, and I was like, we'll see. And obviously, with clothes, I needed something a little more laid back. So there's a game called Dust and Elysian Tale.
Oh, it's so good.
This game came out in like 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Amazingly, golly, it's been 8
Oh,
years since
yep.
this game
Almost,
came out.
yeah, almost a decade.
And The game looks really, really good. I got it on Steam a few years back, actually. And if you ever, again, if you have a good streaming PC, or if you have a good PC that plays video games, I would urge you to get a Steam account, because man, I mean, if you play video games and you have it on a PC, you probably have a Steam account. So what am I saying? But if you don't, if you're playing Epic Games or you're on GOG, the Steam sales are ridiculous, especially around Christmas time. Steam, pay me money. But yeah, I got this game a long time ago, and I was basically just scratching the surface of this game. It's a side-scrolling platformer. You're playing as this guy named Dust. I think he's a cat, a ninja cat of some sort. Um, and this sword, like it's this being or whatever, like comes up to you, and I guess you're trying to fulfill your destiny. Um, and there's this little pixie looking, again, I think this is like a cat world. There's this pixie looking character. I'm trying to find her name right now. I think it's like Fidget or something. And she apparently is chasing after the sword, but the sword goes a lot deeper than just that. He's traveling to find his destiny. And along the way, you start to earn skills. You start to earn the mechanics of the game. I'm basically barely just through the tutorial. I did want to impress on this game that this game is ridiculously gorgeous. It looks like
Stunning.
Animators from Disney that
Yeah.
drew this thing. Even the background setting that can sometimes hide behind the action plays its own character as well. And again, just scratching the surface of this game, it's very like the platforming is very elaborate and very, very interesting. The ability to break through walls, to carve your own pathway. You have like a little Metroid map kind of at the top right screen, and actually gives you an indicator showing if you've completed a certain area. I've really, really just scratched the surface going through the minions, and I haven't even reached the first boss of this game yet, but I'm already looking forward to putting some hours in this game. Mitch, have you played this game? I was going to ask you, how
Yeah.
long is this thing?
I haven't I never finished it, but it's one of those
It doesn't look very
standard
long.
it's one of those standard kind of indie games that runs, between 4 and 6 hours. Yeah, it really, it's an incredible looking game. And I know that the story is a very personal story to the guy that wrote it and created it.
Yeah.
It's and yeah, it looks like a storybook. It's incredibly beautiful, very hand drawn looking.
Yeah.
It's a neat thing. Yeah, I'm glad that you discovered that. That's a cool little thing.
For an XBLA indie title, this thing is, like I said, extremely gorgeous. It comes off very like kung fu, like a samurai on a journey
Right.
feel to it. No, I'm looking forward to seeing where this game takes me. Not really interested too much in streaming this
Sure.
particular item.
Yeah.
This is something I think like I want to take on a more personal level, just because it is a little more subdued in a good
Right.
way.
Have you
But
have
yeah,
you played have you ever played Never Alone?
no,
That's another one of those that it's kind of one of those personal stories by the creator. It's about this little girl who lives up in the north, kind of where in and it's kind of it's a take on the Eskimo lifestyle, and kind of
oh yeah,
it's supposed to be really like I've played a decent amount of it. Like the mechanics are really good, but it's one of those where you get to the end and you're just like, I sure am glad nobody's watching me play this,
yeah.
because I'm gonna start crying.
I think we
That's
saw the
another.
I think we saw the E3 like showing of this.
Yeah.
And I even thought to myself too, I'm like, oh, this is a crying game
Yeah,
in like
and
in a
it's
good way, but
well, and it's
yeah.
really cool
And
because
there's a
it
little
gives
white
you
dog in it. I'm like,
yeah, yeah,
that'll make me
yeah,
cry.
and you yeah, and it's one of those where you watch where you get this kind of feeling as you're starting the game. It's like this dog wolf thing's gonna fucking die, isn't he? Like you're just like, oh god, what am I doing? It's really neat, and it kind of gives you a history of the Eskimo culture. That's really neat as well. But yeah, it's a cool one too. Might be another one after this one worth checking out. Did you do anything else?
Yeah. Like I said, that was pretty much the only thing that I have done. I've got Fallout 4 on hold that I'm definitely, chomping at the bit to get back into
Mm-hmm.
eventually. Now that year end close is done, but that's
Yeah,
pretty much
and I
it.
know we won't
I,
spoil it here, but you got something in the pipeline that I am super excited
oh yeah, yeah,
about. After you get done with that Fallout, which you need to finish that Fallout because I want to watch you play the other thing. Well then, with that said, we're gonna move on to the news. And as usual, Monday and Tuesday brings us some last minute bangers. In fact, including today, Charlie, uh, Bethesda announced their it's their first game they've really announced since the merger with Microsoft, and it's a banger. Machine Games, makers of the Wolfenstein series, the most recent Wolfenstein series of the last probably decade. Very highly critically acclaimed games. Charlie, I know you've played a little bit of that stuff, and they're very good. They're making an Indiana Jones game, which is really something. Today, Bethesda on their Twitter account put out a little short teaser video announcing that they're going to be making an Indiana Jones game, and then they put out a little press release that said that it's going to be an original story. It's not based on any of the movies, and yeah, that's pretty neat.
I'm glad you're saying Indiana Jones because I'm looking in the notes. I'm like, who is Indian Jones? Like,
Because I don't know how
is
to
it
type.
is it coming out of Sri Lanka and
Yeah, yeah, Indian,
just
yeah.
jumping through
No,
the burrows or whatever? No,
it's
that's really really cool. It'll be interesting. Bethesda, boy, obviously we were joking about this earlier. The first thought in our back of our heads was like, oh, Uncharted again. That's cool.
yeah.
Um, but here's I have a thought on this.
Okay, let's hear it.
And with every video game, with every proprietary video game, especially ones that reflect those that the media already exists, and I'm meaning ones that like reflect movies and such.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at two worlds about this because I really like to see like there's one part of me that says like, oh, I would love to play these parts of this movie in a game. To do the like speaking specifically to this game, to do the big boulder portion, to have to escape out of a crumbling ruin, um, Uncharted, or to go through, have to do stealth mission through the Egyptian ruins in order to get to the like the sarcophagus room where he puts the stick down and lights everything up. That would be cool. But there's the other side of me that's like I would love this world, but something that is interpreted with an original kind of journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like take those characters. I don't even care if he's going after the Holy Grail um, or what was it? The cup, the the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, the Ark of the
He
Covenant.
doesn't even have to go after those. It could be something completely unique on that aspect.
It sounds like
You
that's what
know,
this is. It's something unique.
yeah. And so I'm now when I hear that, my thought is like, okay, I'm a little more excited for it.
Yeah, it's so tough because it's just a teaser. We don't know anything. This game is probably at least 2 years away. Um, the thing that'll be interesting,
Will this be
and
just a Microsoft?
exactly, and my answer is the same answer I give to everything, no matter who has the exclusive. I hope not. I hope it goes to everything. I hope
Yeah.
everybody gets to play it. But I wonder. It's been speculated, and I think this is good speculation that because this is a property of another company, Lucas Film, that they are going to be like, look, this needs to come out on everything because we love money. So
Even Stadia.
it exactly, it's going to probably come out on Stadia. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, we don't. Microsoft can't comment, and Bethesda can't comment on that yet because the deal is not officially complete yet. Um, but I wonder. And the what that game is going to be, who knows? Yeah, it is easy to say Uncharted. It is funny that we're sitting all these jokes about Uncharted when Uncharted is basically Indiana Jones. Like they basically took from Indiana Jones. It's funny that we
Yeah.
we do that, but it is what it is. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder what this game will be. Um,
I
so
mean, it's
that
been several years since Uncharted, so maybe
sure.
by then, quote unquote, people will be jonesing.
All right,
You get it?
we're gonna shut this thing off. Ladies and
Jonesing
gentlemen,
for
thank you so
more
much for
Indiana
watching and
Jones.
listening today. The podcast. It's our shortest podcast yet. No. So yeah.
I will say, one last thing to add to this.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting because I've played a good amount. You know me, I play the Lego games.
Yes.
I've played a good amount of those games. Like me and my wife had literally 100%ed that thing.
Yeah.
And so
Crazy
my
person.
expectations for that game will be pretty high because, to be honest, Lego did a ridiculous job of adapting that world and that storyline into the Lego universe and into something that's both exciting, fun, and humorous. So I'll
Yeah.
be interested to see what type of how Bethesda approaches this, like from a humor standpoint as well as from like an action standpoint. Because action wise, with Wolfenstein, they can bring it.
Yeah, but it is interesting. It is interesting that
Machine.
machine games that does Wolfenstein. They're doing an Indiana Jones game. What what does that look like from machine games? I don't know. Also, no way in hell there is a 0% chance Harrison Ford does anything with this game aside
No,
from maybe his likeness, and that's it. He's not voicing it. There's no way. There's no way.
no.
Also, I hope I hope they do a young Indiana Jones story, like a younger version. But anyway, that's cool. So that's a new game,
Yeah.
Charlie. We have news about an old game, an old series that may be done.
Yes. Got word not too long ago that the Killzone website, Killzone, the exclusive for the Sony PlayStation, the website was officially retired. And so basically, with no console release title to go with the new console, no title in the last 7 years, the company is kind of like, I don't want to say shutting doors permanently because a lot of fans are still enjoying Killzone Shadowfall. And Gorilla is still supporting it with its updates. But if you go to that website now, it just redirects you to PlayStation.com. So, we could be seeing I don't want to say beginning of the end, but maybe the middle of the end of the Killzone series, unless someone decides to pick it up off the ground and reboot the thing. But
Yeah. So couple things there. Gorilla, that
mhm,
they did Days Gone, right?
yes,
Okay. Um, I always hated Killzone. I didn't think that was a good game. Those good games. I never liked them.
yeah, it was
Too much
definitely
hype.
like in it was definitely a game that, I mean, to me at the time when Killzone was at its height, it just appeared to me that this was the Sony's answer to Gears.
Gears or
Um,
Halo, yeah.
yeah, Gears or Halo. Yes, correct.
Mm,
And even when I was watching my roommate play this game, and he played it, quite a bit, I never was enthralled or really pulled in by I mean, the action was action, but to me, there's something about games that I play or even games that I watch that it's got to have that certain spice to it. And this one just seemed to me was like, okay, it's loud.
yeah.
Maybe that was me, big headed at the time, being, oh, I'm all Microsoft Xbox now, I
Mm,
whatever. But who knows? Like,
yeah.
it's so long ago. But yeah, I never really fell into the Killzone. Like, if I heard a new title was coming out, that didn't really raise any like
Yeah.
um, levels in me. So
For sure. Yeah, that's it. It is weird, these big kind of tent-pole games that kind of go away. Also, look, I am all for companies taking chances and making new stuff. So like Gorilla coming out and making Days Gone instead of a Killzone. And look, Days Gone is a very mixed reviewed game.
oh yeah.
Friend of the show, Seamus, played it, and by the end of it, he was done with it and thought it was quite average.
I think by the middle of it, he was done with
Yeah,
it.
and but I'm all about the, and again, kind of a spoiler for scatter shooting. Companies don't make new IPs anymore very often, and I wish more would do that. So yeah, so RIP Killzone, I guess. Next up, uh, so Twitch had the concurrent viewer record broken yesterday, and not just broken, shattered. So the record for the most concurrent viewership was 660,000 people at one time, to a Spanish streamer named the Gref G. I'm gonna go with. He's a Fortnite streamer, and he had 660 concurrent viewers during the December Fortnite Galactus event, which
Only 660
yes,
or
660,000.
oh, okay. 660 that okay, there.
We currently have 4 people watching, Charlie.
Hey man,
Well, today that
I
number
love you poor
was.
people.
I know, I love each and every one of you 4 people, especially the one that counts as me, because one of them is me. Anyway, so today, or I'm sorry, yesterday, I believe it was, the same guy, the Gref G, he revealed his skin that's going to be in Fortnite. Well, all of a sudden, out
Really?
of nowhere, right? Out of nowhere, his with people being sent there via Twitter, via the Fortnite account. All of a sudden, there was 1 million people watching, so it crushes the record. Well, then as that number started to go up, of course, the thing that always happens with stuff like this, the hype gets out of control, to the point to where at one point this guy had 2.5 million people watching.
It's a lot of people.
So the previous record was 660,000. He nearly quadrupled that. And of course, I went and looked, and he gained in that stream alone 350,000 new followers.
Jesus.
It's really
Hey man,
crazy.
he's doing it right.
Yeah. He's one of the most.
Riding that wave.
Yeah, he's one of the most popular streamers in the world. I mean, he makes millions and millions and millions a year. Right up there with Ninja and guys like that. It really crazy. It's amazing how that shit kind of just organically happens every now and then. Actually, funny enough, the previous record holder was him, and then before that it was Ninja. So yeah,
Wow.
that's insane. Speaking of Twitch streamers, Charlie, a little bit of a sad note here. What you got?
I'm reporting on the deaths of things. It seems like.
Yep. Yeah, you
this
picked
Twitch.
all the negative ones. I'm all positive. That usually it's the other way around.
I mean, this one really struck me because, to be honest, this guy was my age, and I say was because the Twitch streamer, the competitive Tetris player, his name is Jonas Neubauer. He was a seven-time world champion. He basically all of a sudden just died on January 4th. It was basically all of a sudden this random emergency that occurred, and and all of a sudden he's gone. Uh, his channel was Nubin's Goody, which is partner with Heather Ito. I went by there to check it out, and it seemed like the channel was just hosting things at the time. I expect anything to be active, but yeah, like it just goes to show you, like it can happen literally at the drop of a hat. This guy, who's a seven-time world champion, competitive Tetris player, doing probably what he loves the most. I didn't realize that there was a competitive Tetris circuit, to be honest.
Do you think he ever loses Tetris? He ever lost Tetris 99?
No.
He won every single time.
I think. Well, honestly, I think my perception of him, and it was cool to see like people had gone out there and like to the Twitter and had reached out just saying like, hey, in remembrance of Jonas and thoughts and feelings toward Heather. But I figured he's the type of guy to even just like, he probably doesn't even play Tetris 99, but just like on a weekend, kind of like me, where he's just like, I need to do something relaxing. Let's just check this out to see how much I can just like romp on these fools. And, who knows? He may have been like the type that like, because I've noticed that with Tetris 99, there's a different strategy than just playing like normal Tetris.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so who knows? Maybe he was placed 33rd and you placed 32nd, and you never knew all that time that you beat a seven-time world champion. But yeah, thoughts and prayers from MC Gamescast for Jonas Neubauer, man.
Yeah,
it sucks.
That sucks, and it is that weird thing of, oh, you're our age. That's fucking great. That's nice to hear. Yeah, but
let's go back to happier news.
Well, and this one's not that this last note here from Dunch here is not super positive. So there was a company recently that posted that they were going to be doing a small run of custom painted black kind of PS2 looking PlayStation 5s. Yeah. Both in the digital form and the disc-based form. They were going to be about $150 more than the originals. And so they went on pre-order. Well, then all of a sudden, kind of out of nowhere, they canceled all of the pre-orders from what they said were threats made to them as a company. And then things kind of got weird, because there were some people got their refunds, but there are still a lot of people that never got their refund as of as of time of the show starting today. And there is a lot of people speculating that they did the quote threats that they received were threats from Sony saying, yo, what the fuck are you doing?
Yo,
you're basically going public with your own, what you're calling your own design. You can't do that. You should stop this, or we're going to sue you for everything, But they've made it sound like that the way that the company made it sound like is that people were threatening them. But I can't imagine why that would be. I mean, the internet sucks. So there's a lot of people.
Can't imagine we have people storming the Capitol, but
that's true.
It happens.
A lot of people, including me, this is gonna sound very conspiracy theory, but it's hard not to. I think they were getting shut down by Sony. Well, the biggest problem though is that there are still a lot of people that have not received their refunds, despite lots of phone calls and trying to get their money back. So I don't know. I hope those people get that money back. I saw I don't know if you saw the pictures of the consoles. They look cool. They look neat. Um, but yeah, it doesn't make that system look that much less ugly. Uh, Not that any of the new consoles, are that good looking. Like the Series S is the only one that kind of looks okay. The Series X kind of looks like one of those Amazon Echoes. Um, you know, but yeah, it's weird. I hope those people get their money back.
It's just something that it looks like was a piece of art outside at the DMA and was like, you know what? Let's make a console out of that.
Right. Yeah. It's
Sony.
and they're so large. Yeah. Whatever. Anyway, so that's that. And Charlie, like I said, I already spoiled this, but give us the last one.
And the Stadia still exists.
It sure does. And you know what? It might be great. Hitman plays
man.
wonderfully on it. One new release, and it's not even a new release. The Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game, the complete edition, is being released on, well, everything pretty much, including Stadia. That's literally the only game, unless you give a shit about Five Nights at Freddy's, which we don't, or I don't. Yeah, it's not.
I like that game.
Yeah, well, okay, well, hey, you know what? The collection is out this week, Charlie, if you want it. But anyway, the Scott Pilgrim, it's the complete edition. It's it's been up-res and it has all of the DLC and everything. It's on PC, Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and the aforementioned Stadia. That's it. That's the news. Charlie, we have decided to mix things up here on the show. It's new season, new year, new you. Instead of going with a specific topic each week, what we're gonna do is if there's a week where a topic really needs to be talked about, we'll obviously do it. But to kind of lend itself more to what the original plan of the podcast was, which was kind of talk about retro and our gaming lives, what we're gonna do is we're going to each week, myself and Charlie are going to feature one game from our gaming past, kind of a let's remember some games style, but we're each going to do one, and then if we have time, we'll take a suggestion from the chat.
Chat.
We're going to start that this week, and I think we're going to have a good time with it. Charlie, since I went first on what we've been playing, you can go first on the game that you want us to remember. Let's go.
I am going with one of the greatest sports games that I have ever played, with not just single player, but with friends and co-host alike. And from my understanding, from what all prognosticators say about this series, it is not even considered the best amongst its lot. And it would have to be Tiger Woods. So you have 2004 down here. I am talking 2005.
The picture's 2005.
Yeah, okay. I am talking 2005. Again, this was back in our heyday where we're all roommates and all like very, very close, working retail. All we ever wanted to do is end our shift and go play video games, play Madden, play some God of War, play some, Smash at times. But there was definitely a game that influenced our group immensely, and that was the Tiger Woods series. And I remember specifically 2005 because of the little things that were found in the game and how it affected our group immensely. First of all, the game, for its time, it was gorgeous. Like we got to see golf courses that you could only dream about walking through. if you even had membership or a PGA card ever. Um, Second of all, there are certain games that that we all played together that like one person was better than the other. For this game, I could pretty much attest to say that one of us, you, Mitch, myself, Chris, my roommate, and then Ryan, who eventually got into the fold. He didn't play with in this game, but I'm trying to remember if Felipe played this game with us a couple of times.
I don't remember him playing it. It was mostly us three.
But yeah, but we were pretty much like all on leave keel, and the really cool items in regards to this game is what this was the first year that brought Tiger Vision. Things would slow down, and you would start to see, you know, the zoom ins, or when you were putting, the you could see where the ball would bend just because you had the eyes of Tiger Woods, and you could actually see where the ball was going to go, the path of the ball was going to go. It was like the glowing hockey puck for the NHL back in
Nice.
the day. God, I wish they brought that back. But that was definitely one of the new features for this game. Um, why I bring this up is because, like I said, this game had so many details and so many facets and so many little things that we adopted into our own behavior and vernacular. Like we would just all of a sudden break out into like some weird Tiger Woods esque jokey joke where we were just like, obviously this was the time when we were all like pointing at each other's
Oh
thumbs and we are
boy,
like, yup, 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 all that stuff.
we were so
You know,
stupid back then.
joke for three right there. But we were very dumb. But no, like this game, it lended itself to introducing those facets into, our hooliganism. Um, but I mean, on top of all this, like it's a game that like not we it was a relaxing game, but at the same time there was a tenseness about it because not only were you competing against yourself, you're competing against each other, but at the same time you were kind of rooting for each other because you wanted to see your friend hit that hole in one or hit the albatross, because I swear to this day I think the albatross is still the hardest thing to hit rather than a hole in one. um and then on top of everything, this game influenced us so much that we went out and freaking bought golf clubs. I think you owned your own set of golf clubs, but I had never played golf before
Yeah,
outside of a golf course. Never even hit on a driving range.
yeah. I was the only
And
one. I was the only one that had played golf
yeah,
before that. I think. I think Chris played a little bit, but I was the only one that actually played consistently.
yeah. And obviously this was in the height of Tiger Woods. Um, at the height of his powers, he would drive off the tee and everyone's like, get in the hole and all that, crazy stuff. We would do all those Gary McCord and
David
what
Faraday.
David Faraday sounders that they would have throughout the gameplay. Like if it went in the rough or if it went in the sand or if it went on the beach, we would coin those phrases over and over again.
Yeah.
You got anything to add to that? I mean, like I can keep going.
Well. That's the
You
thing
can
is
get interject whenever you want.
right, and that was the thing about that game is that I feel like for sure, of all the stuff that we played together, and that includes Madden, that includes even the Rock Band stuff. Like I feel like I have more memories of the Rock Band stuff than the Tiger Woods, but I feel like out of all the stuff we played, that was the game that we took the most of from it outside of the game. We played golf. We the all the sayings, all the like you said, the that crap. Just the dumb shit that everybody thought we were idiots doing, but we're sitting there high-fiving like we're the best. And the just the yeah, like the fact that we went because of a video game, we had a good decade, probably, where we took something from a video game and actually went and did it. A lot. We went on vacations where one of the main points of the vacation was to play golf somewhere else. Yes, those trips to San Diego were fucking a blast with all the shit we did, but we brought our golf clubs for a reason, and we played golf multiple times on those trips at really, really fucking nice places. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's definitely the game where we took the most out of. You know, personally, obviously, like stuff like Rock Band in playing music. You know, but yeah, it was such an incredible game, and the fact that we played that game so much, but yet for the 1 millionth time when it would do the zoom in and the heartbeat, we would sit there and be like, oh shit, and we had done it 1,000,000 times before that. We would have holes where all three of us would hit a hole in one on the hole. And the third time, Chris would hit his, and it would be like, and we'd be like, oh, shit. It was, that game, it was great. And it sucks because I've played, recent golf games that I've liked. Like, I think the golf club games are fine. They're good. But I don't get anywhere near the amount of fun out of those. Like, Ryan and I play the Golf Club 2019 a lot. And it's fun, but not even close to what Tiger Woods used to do. And I know the Rory McIlroy game didn't, like, it got to be a little too simmy, and kind of got away a little bit from kind of just the craziness of what those old Tiger Woods games were. It's great. I love Tiger Woods, and it's definitely, in terms of our history, one of, and you can argue, the best shit that we did. You got anything else on that Tiger?
I was gonna say you hit it around the head where it had the perfect blend of simulator, but at the same time it was very arcadey. The fact that you could pick out old classics like Jack Nicklaus, Ben Hogan, Arnold Palmer. The fact that you could shoot, in the 50s at will,
we would shoot 48s.
We knew that this was a video game, but holy crap, it made you feel like, you know what? I could go on an actual golf course and I could do something.
Yeah.
And you'd immediately get humbled. That ball would shank and hit somebody's awning and we'd have to run.
Yeah. Or get hit in the chest.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. That sucked. But yeah, no, that game, it's a tent pole for us.
Yeah.
Because, not only, did we have fun playing it, like it was the fun times that we had while playing it.
Oh yeah.
It definitely stood out, in the forefront as, the event. Cup. But yeah, like the Sonic Cup.
I swear we played that game when I brought the cup over. I swear that's what we were playing.
And the greatest joke of all time, man. He took a bite out of crime. You thought I forgot about that?
No, I know you didn't forget. It's still that was almost 20 years ago. I still don't know what that means.
Because it's McGruff, and he's a dog, and he roughs, and it's in the rough.
It's still the worst joke of all time. Yeah, that game's fucking great. It's great, and you know what? Early game face back then, really good. Those characters, look, they didn't look exactly like us. It was the PS2, but they kind of, you would get it, you would be like, all right, okay.
I mean, again, we talked offline about this. Like, I don't look like KJ Choi.
I mean, I don't know.
But it is what it is. I am part Asian, so it is what it is.
I mean, I always
no,
thought
the
your name
fact
was
that you
KJ
could make,
Sarsuela.
I mean, the fact that you could make the the game facing yourself, and then like even those moments where, obviously when you'd miss a putt and your character, your the player that you played at would react to it, like you'd
Yeah,
have the dancing guy, or you could
and
pick all
the
those
voice
different
was so
customization
bad.
dancings around and stuff like that.
Get
And
in your
I
home.
mean, I think Stopper Monkey was even in the game somewhere. So
Oh God, Stopper Monkey! I forgot about
yeah,
that. Oh boy. Oh man. Well, I guess I have something to talk to Chris about tomorrow.
yeah.
I forgot about that.
But yeah, I mean that game was about as complete. And like again, all prognosticators say that 2004 may be the best. And to be honest, if this game had what 2004 had, which is DMX, this game would be the ultimate perfect game. But lo and behold,
Yeah.
okay.
That's good. I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that to the table because that game is great. Um, my game for the week, which I've already spoiled because
I
my
say
stupid
it took a peek.
OBS. Yeah, my stupid OBS. Um, this is a game that was also on the PlayStation 2. I believe it was a 2004 game. So back in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a game called Diablo. It was a hack and slash dungeon crawler for the PC. It did come out for the PlayStation, but it was not the same as the PC one. I think it played well, but it didn't have online capabilities. Um, but there was a long time where the console did not have a hack and slash style game to kind of call its own. Well, there was a top down strategy RPG game called Baldur's Gate. Back in the mid and late 90s. It is from the people that do Dungeons and Dragons. It's a fantastic little RPG series. Well, they decided, well, there really isn't any of these style of games on console, especially on the PlayStation 2. So they went and made their own game, and that game was Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance is as I said, it is a hack and slash RPG dungeon crawler made by the same people that did the Baldur's Gate series on PC, and it took no Siri. I didn't say Siri. Thank you. Did I say Siri? Jesus. All right.
Oh no.
Yeah, my phone. I don't. I guess I said it. Oh, I said series. Um, so they made this hack and slash dungeon crawler, and it was fucking fantastic. It took all of the kind of the deep RPG elements of Dungeons and Dragons, and put it into the hack and slash, and it was your typical Diablo style loot driven game. You kill enemies, you gain levels, you get treasure, you get, oh, I'm gonna upgrade this sword to a +6, and it looked fantastic on the PS2. Like it was one of those games where you were like, oh, this is what the PS2 can do. Like the water effects were really good. It was that top down kind of like Diablo, but I don't know. There was for some reason it just looked really good, and the boob physics were really good. Um, I don't know if you've played this, Charlie, this game, but in the very beginning, you go to this inn and there is a kind of a wench like woman there, and she's got big giant bouncing boobies. That
As one would.
yes, that 19-year-old or whatever 20-year-old Mitch was like, ha, look at those. Anyway, but yeah, it's such a good. It was such a good game. It did have multiplayer.
Luscious
Not
melons.
that's right. Not online multiplayer, but it had split screen up to 4 people. And you had your different builds of characters. You could go with magic. You could go with just your typical tank, melee character, your kind of stealthy rogue style, and bow and arrow. They made 3 of those games on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. It was they so there was also what is that the makers of EverQuest made a version. I think it's like Champions of Norath, I think it was called. It wasn't quite as good as the Baldur's Gate. Um, I wish they would make another Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance game. I would play the shit out of another one of these. Charlie, did you ever play this?
I played a little bit of it. I played it on the PC. Um, I know that Adam really got me into Diablo, and then we came across this game. I'm trying to remember. Is this the game that has the nine spectrum system where you can pick your class of character?
I don't remember. I don't think
I'm
so.
trying to.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Neverwinter?
I mean, yeah, there was Neverwinter Nights.
I'm wondering if that's what, because I don't think Dark Alliance ever came to PC. I may be wrong, but I don't think it did. And I'm wondering if you're thinking of Neverwinter Nights as the game that you may have played with Adam. Maybe it did come to
Yeah,
PC.
that could be right.
I don't remember it going to PC. I don't know.
No,
But
you might be right. I mean, you're totally right. I mean, I know what Baldur's Gate is.
Yeah. It's
but
yeah. It's
I've played a lot of games, man.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, I was too busy playing Madden back in. Actually, I was too. Yeah, it really was a fantastic game. Like I feel like that this game could, there's not a lot of developers making games like this. You know, you've got your Diablos, you've got your Pillars of Eternity, but really that's kind of it. There's not a lot of games that are in that hack and slash dungeon crawler genre. So I think you could do this game today. You put good multiplayer with it, and I think it's a game that you could play. Or you could.
I mean, with Baldur's Gate 3 coming out in early access, I know everyone was completely riveted. Even our former streamer, Elite Asian, he was all about that.
Yeah, and you know I haven't really even looked at Baldur's Gate. I know that Baldur's Gate 3. I know that's more of the kind of RPG style.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was that, like, the PlayStation 2 was that really weird era where a lot of these developers were taking chances on kind of new things, and it was a time where stuff like this could happen, and I just don't think that we're in that time anymore. I think with the way that video games, the cost of developing video games now, you have to have sure things, and I don't think a game like this is a sure thing. So I don't know. I wish they would try. I would play it, especially if it was good. I mean, obviously if it was bad, I wouldn't play it. But anyway, that's all I got on that, and that's this week's episode of Let's Remember a Game. Chat, Josh, you got anything you want us to talk about? Otherwise, we'll move on to that mailbag. I believe Josh is the only one in here. Nico, if you're here, any games that you would like for us to discuss? Otherwise, we can hold it for next week, of course. Let's see here. Yeah. You know what? Time Splitters 2. Time Splitters 2. Time Splitters 2. Time Splitters 2 is the best shooter on PS2. And it's not close.
Yeah, I mean, PS2 is not really known for its shooters, so yeah, I mean, you're probably right.
Yeah, Time Splitters 2 is just, it's so good. And it was comprised of a lot of people that developed both GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. And the original Time Splitters was a launch title, which I owned. I went and bought a PlayStation 2 multi-tap controller adapter so I could have 4 controllers, so I could play Time Splitters. And Time Splitters 2 was the sequel. They added a single player element to it, which the single player story mode was actually pretty good. And like Josh said, they did add a kind of multiplayer map maker. It was very rudimentary. It wasn't great, but you can make your own little kind of corridor GoldenEye style
Mm-hmm.
maps, and yeah, it was neat. God, Time Splitters 2, it's so good. Um,
I mean, it definitely has the skeleton of GoldenEye, like
100%.
even the health bars, like how it surrounds, like the sides or whatever, rather than just
Oh,
being a
and
simple bar on the
yeah,
top.
and the weapons are just
And
GoldenEye
yeah,
weapons.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. I
God,
mean, if you're gonna clone a game, why not clone one of the
well,
best
yeah,
games on the
well,
N64?
yeah,
So
clone the best game, one of the best games at that time by the people that made that game.
yeah, but turn it
Uh,
21. That was totally awesome.
yeah, those dumb monkeys. Yeah, it was a really silly game. Like it had kind of the multi characters, in the story mode, and yeah, it's that. Yeah, Time Splitters 2 is great. Again, that's another series where if they made another one of those, I might buy it sight unseen. It's kind of like how we talk about with Left 4 Dead. It's like just make it. I'll buy it. I don't care. You could put a dog turd inside of a box that says Left 4 Dead 3, and I'll probably buy it because I just want it.
Don't worry, man.
Um,
Back for Blood's coming. Don't worry.
oh yeah, it's coming. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, yeah, Josh, thanks for bringing that up. That's a badass game.
Really good game.
Yeah, excellent. And we'll do this again next week. But for now, let's get in to the mailbag. And if you have any questions, you can hit us up on many different places. You can hit us up in the MC Squad Discord. You can hit us up here in the chat. You can hit us up on Twitter. Charizard81, stifling a yawn. And Team Llama Gaming on
It's been a long
Twitter.
weekend, bro.
It's been a very long week. Or you can just come up to us on the street, say hi, and ask us a question there. We're going to start off with a little bit of rapid fire quick hits from our good friend Josh. I curbed about 8 of these of his questions. We'll save some more for next week. We're going to bring it back to sports to start here. In their prime, Mike Allstott or Daryl Moose Johnston? Look, I love Daryl Moose Johnston.
Dude.
He was one of my favorite Cowboys of all time. But Mike Allstott is a way better football player.
Oh, dude.
Look at
I
the
can't.
dude.
I can't
Look,
go
first of all, go
against
look at the numbers.
Like, I'm not gonna okay.
He's a better blocker.
Allstott, yeah. Here, this is I was about to differentiate. Allstott is the better running back.
Right.
Moose is the better all utility player. Because Moose is you could put him out on the flat and he'll catch the pass. Allstott, I remember he had he didn't have very good hands. Like he was definitely a barrel runner, run through the thing. He was a great blocker too. Dude, I'm sorry, I can't. I know that the star has spurned you.
No, dude.
Turn away from the Moose, dude.
Daryl Johnston is one of my favorite players from that era. He might be my favorite. I love him just like I love Jay Novacek and fucking Aikman and all those people. But dude, Allstott. Okay, all right. We should move on. We'll skip the next one. We'll go to this other.
Okay.
We'll come back to it, but we're going to keep on sports.
Sure.
In their prime, Tim Duncan or Shaq?
Shaq.
You're wrong again. It's Duncan.
Shaq.
You talked. Okay. I'll tell you why it's Duncan. It's the same reason you said Moose.
Yeah.
All around. Duncan had a better all-around game than Shaq did. All Shaq could do, and he did it very well, was be in the fucking middle and slam dunk and shatter, backboards. Like he was very dominant, but Tim Duncan's a way more well-rounded player.
I mean, I'll give you that, but I hate the Spurs. And to Shaq, like you said, he's a fucking force of nature.
There may be nobody in the history of the NBA, except for maybe Chamberlain, where the physical anomaly that is Shaq.
Yeah.
He is up there with Chamberlain in terms of just what the fuck that first of all, that guy, as big as he was, as tall as he was, as big as he was, could still kind of move like he did.
Yes.
But I think just all around, if you put it all together, and look, I hate the Spurs too. I fucking hate the Spurs. I hate Tim Duncan. I fucking hate the wide eye. I never committed a foul in my life, but he's a better player.
You're right there. You're illustrating all the reasons why I picked Shaq. He's got the charisma. People forget in his heyday, like you said, how fast he could be.
Sure.
Like, they forget about the Orlando days where he was completely destroying.
Sure. No, 100%. And it's a shame that he never won a title with Penny.
Yeah.
And you know what? Who do I like more? It's Shaq by a billion miles.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's hard.
I mean,
we
can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
And Shaq is so great on TNT right now.
Right. And
Come on,
I mean,
man.
there's a reason why Duncan isn't on TV.
Wiggle.
There's a reason why Duncan's not on TV. Anyway, let's move on. Let's go back up to the previous one. Blue Moon or Land Shark, the Battle of the Beers.
Man, it used to be Blue Moon, but that beer is so filling. I like Land Shark a lot.
Did the challenge on the Atom party boat ruin you for Blue Moon?
I mean, that didn't help.
Yeah.
The idea that we're just like, hey, let's take a shot of Blue Moon every
what were
minute
we
for
thinking?
like 60 minutes. And but no, I mean, like Land Shark, I mean, you could have that with a meal. Like I'm imagining already having that with freaking like crab and calamari and like a freaking like lobster bake or some shit like that.
Right.
Blue Moon, like it's a great beer. Don't get me wrong, like it's a great wheat beer, but
yeah,
it's very filling. Like even to the point where like I think honestly Blue Moon is more filling than Guinness. So
yeah, I
do like the orange. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, and see that's kind of why I picked Blue Moon, because I enjoy pouring a Blue Moon in a glass, putting in a nice slice of orange, and kind of hanging out like
nutritious.
And that's not to say that Land Shark's not great too. I like Land Shark a lot. Blue Moon puts out a special kind of cinnamon horchata that I will murder people to get them to bring that back. It is so goddamn delicious. It's so good. But yeah. All right, let's move on. Simpsons Arcade versus X-Men Arcade. Who you got?
This is so wrong.
It is so wrong because
this right here is picking between my children.
Right, but I have a clear winner, I think. I love the Simpsons Arcade. I just love it. I back in the day I was way more into the Simpsons, that's a part of it, than I was X-Men.
Sure.
And so I ended up playing the Simpsons Arcade way more than the X-Men one. And again, like the X-Men Arcade as a video game is incredible. It's one of the best games of that style of that era.
Yeah. And see, like, as much as I love the Simpsons,
Right, and exactly.
One of my initial loves, like in comics, was the X-Men.
Exactly, it's time and place for you.
There was nothing better than going into the arcade and seeing either a lot of people around that thing or no one around that thing, because that meant either there was a party going on over there and they were probably on Magneto, or there's no one there and I could play it all by my lonesome. So
yeah.
Also, this arcade is great. I do like the fact that they turn a lot of their bit characters into bosses.
Yes.
That boxer guy at the very beginning or whatever.
I mean, to be honest, like the true answer is they're both the best, because they're both basically the same game. It's just were you a Simpsons guy more or were you an X-Men guy more?
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, you know what the answer is? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, boy. Yeah. You want to put this into a handicap match?
Right.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would make that very interesting.
I think that's the answer for me, would be that. But of the two, it's Simpsons. Next up, the Taco Casa sweet tea or the Cane sweet tea. The answer is neither. Sweet tea is gross.
Okay. But if you had to pick,
I mean, I'm going to pick Cane's because I just think Cane's is a better place overall, I guess. But I don't like sweet tea.
you need to have you had Taco Casa's tea?
No, I don't drink tea with tacos. I find that weird.
Okay, so the cool thing I've always liked about Taco Casa's tea is they give you that freaking gallon bag, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when we were setting up fireworks about half a decade ago at Moss Lake, and it was just hot. It was one of them things, and like we went to Taco Casa and got like 6 of these bags, and never has a tea ever tasted better than that thing, to the point where I'm like, if I go to Taco Casa now, I'm like, while I pick up tacos, can I just pick up some tea also? And like, you want to talk about tea that holds well, that drinks well, that goes down well. And it's honestly, to me, Cane's, it's probably why you don't like sweet tea, is that the Cane's sweet tea it's damn near just sugar. Like, I don't taste the tea in it anymore. The thing about Taco Casa sweet tea, at least you can taste that there's tea in it.
See, I think that's the problem I've always had with sweet tea, is that most sweet teas I've ever had have been just, this just tastes like that bullshit Lipton powder.
Yeah.
That you get at the store. Plus, I've just always liked just your standard tea.
Sure.
And see, what I'm finding, especially lately, is that everything that has to do with being a Texan, I'm against. Sweet tea.
Yeah, you're.
I love the cold and want it to snow all the time. Fuck chili, especially with beans. Shit like that. But yeah,
Boy, you better still like Whataburger.
Oh yeah, no, it's still the best.
And Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, actually, I drank Dr. Pepper right before we started. Next up, this one was weird, and I can't answer it. I mean, I can, but I can't. Ponchos versus El Phoenix. I've never had Ponchos, but from everything I've heard,
oh man,
Ponchos is trash and El Phoenix is fine. Like, I don't know.
Here's the deal. Ponchos is currently, yes, it's very much on the downtrend. When Ponchos was at its peak, though, raising the flag, the food was, decent for a buffet style, service. But man, the first time I went to El Phoenix, that's not the first time that I was like, oh, this is what real Mexican food
This is what
taste
real Tex-Mex, yeah.
Like, yeah, Tex-Mex, yeah. And, like, obviously some of my funniest memories come from there. My brother decided to think that there was a padded wall that was just padding, and he was like, oh, look, it's soft brick, and he headbutts it, and there's nothing but hard rock behind that thing, and it was hilarious. Practically, yeah. I mean, his head, he went wobbly a little bit, but
like, wouldn't a better question, and I'm not saying that Josh is wrong for the question, wouldn't a better question be something closer to like On the Border in El Phoenix?
Yeah, and see, that's my,
because I think they're two different places.
I was gonna say that because, like, to hold El Phoenix, I don't want to say down to Ponchos. They are two different things. Like, Ponchos is basically the Mexican version of Furs, and
that's not a ringing endorsement, I'm afraid.
I like Furs. I used to like Furs when I was a kid. We went there a lot.
It's no Chinese food restaurant, right?
But it's
Nick?
that idea that, like, yes, you can order your food through a buffet line, be seated, and then at a moment's notice, you can raise the flag or go to the Furs window and get, whatever you want, because it was technically all you can eat. El Phoenix is more that, like, you order off the menu.
Yeah,
so I agree with you. It's more like, let's do an El Phoenix on the border.
How about this? The actual answer is Mexican Inn.
Oh, is that a place near you?
Oh, have you had Mexican Inn? Bro.
I got a bro out of this.
Bro. You need to get down with the Mexican Inn, okay? Look it up. Go to a Mexican Inn. Anyway, by the way, R.I.P. Ponchos. The Ponchos near my house closed. I never got to have it. It's gone. I've noticed that. Funny enough, I noticed that today. I think they're all gone. Anyway, finally, Ric Flair versus The Rock. The answer is get your own fucking wrestling podcast. Get that shit out of here. I'm kidding. The answer,
17-time world champion.
The answer is Ric Flair.
limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing,
Yeah.
wheeling dealing son of a gun.
Woo!
I
No.
love The Rock, but it's Ric Flair.
Oh, it's Ric Flair, and it's kind.
No.
It's kind. If you're just talking wrestling, it's not close.
And oh yeah,
Like the Rock is a bad character in wrestling. He's a bad character, especially compared to Ric Flair.
And here's the thing too. If we're talking, and I'm talking like apples to apples, so I'm taking Ric Flair versus The Rock. So I'm taking Ric Flair wrestling, The Rock wrestling. If you're talking Rock the Entertainer,
Oh,
who has
sure.
become a multi-million-dollar mega every summer movie that's coming out there,
Yeah.
The Rock is in it.
Yeah.
I would take The Rock.
Yeah, the Ric Flair's
But
not
I'm
in
holding
Rampage.
these two on the same. I'm holding these two on the same stage, the same arena. Ric Flair didn't go into acting, and
Also, I'm just
HBO series.
yeah.
so.
I also you can fuck yourself off with that. Go, you can get. You know what? I should have deleted this question just for that.
Sucker punch.
No, like I assume if he's asking about Ric Flair and The Rock, he's talking about WWE. So
Yeah.
wrestling. So it's Ric Flair. It's not close. Like Ric Flair. There maybe there's not even an argument, but there's probably an argument that he's like number one on that list out of everybody ever. Because you can't really put Hogan on there because he's a racist guy that had sex with someone's wife on a sex tape, Bubba the Love Sponge. I feel like you can't do that. Who's better at no, it's Ric Flair. It's Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Like The Rock was fine with promos. Of course, he had The Rock had the very famous "Shut up, bitch," which was hilarious. Which is one of the best. I want that as a drop for everything. But no, it's Ric Flair. It's Ric Flair. Now, Ric Flair is way more wheels off, or was way more wheels off, because that guy sure did love alcohol for a long time.
Oh, he still does.
He probably does. And he's got a daughter that wrestles.
It's destroying at wrestling also. So.
Yes. But anyway, all right, Josh, thanks for all those quick hits. I like the quick hits. Let's go on to Nick, our good friend Nico, my Rocket League companion. What's your favorite gaming peripheral of all time, Charlie?
I need definition of peripheral.
Controller, basically controller, anything that you can use to control a video game.
I mean, my 360 controller has been with me, God bless, over like a few decades. If it's something that's really, really not like a controller, I'd give me the light gun, because
Light gun's good. That's a good one.
Of all the memories I had playing on the NES, I'm so glad that we got the Super Mario Duck Hunt combo. That game was fun. With the light gun, I was able to play Hogan's Alley, and I have some fond memories playing with my little brother where we traded light guns, and he'd bang that thing against the TV screen all the time. It is what it is, but yeah, no, I love that light gun. I love that the sound it would make whenever you'd pull back on the trigger, you get this little click and pow, and it was nice.
Wasn't that click really satisfying? It was
yeah.
It had that really good amount of tension on the trigger. Yeah. No,
and
great.
I'd hold the barrel like a rifle, and
yeah,
the show The Rifleman.
Yeah.
Where at the very beginning, the guy would go.
Yeah.
I would try to do that with that gun to see how fast I could shoot that thing. Sometimes.
Oh yeah. You would hold it like the rifle, or you would hold it like they did in kind of cop style dramas, like the double fisting the hand. Like it was funny because that was before we knew the side grip, the side like it was before that. I think mine's pretty obvious. It's the Rock Band drums. I wore out 3 different pairs of Rock Band drums.
Wow.
I've said this before. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast before, but I've said this to you. There is not a game. Maybe you could combine every other game / basically the amount of money that I've sunk into every other game I've ever played. I probably put more money in the Rock Band series with DLC with games and the guitars and drums than any of those combined. I put so much money.
You ever put pen to paper on that yet?
It's way into the thousands. I bet you it's $2,000 or $3,000.
Oh my gosh.
Josh, you're 100% incorrect because the Nintendo 64 controller is one of the worst controllers of all time. I'm sorry to say this. Anyway, let us move on. Do you like to play with background music or stick to the in-game music when you play video games?
Man, I like the in-game music. I like what games deliver to me, and so I'm in trying to suture myself in. Like, it's like watching a movie a lot, especially nowadays with these games. That's what I pretty much prefer. What about you?
Yeah, like if I am playing really anything, I'm usually sticking to the music because I don't play a lot of games that have a lot of downtime or are silent games. It like for example, like Rocket League. Like when I'm playing Rocket League competitively, I don't want other music in the background. Like I don't need to sit there.
You're not playing a Good Charlotte,
right? Good Charlotte. Lifestyles of the rich and the famous.
Exactly.
God. Oh. By the way, I bought that album. I bought that album. It's my regret album. If we need to go back and do that music survey. That's my regret album that I purchased.
I'm just thinking of like all those Maddens that for the first time they introduced like licensed music.
Yeah.
Good Charlotte. I mean, they obviously had like some of like the rap beats at the very beginning, but then they really went into like rock and roll music and Andrew WK.
It's so funny. I was introduced to the band Sum 41 because of NHL hockey.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I bought that album because they had Fat Lip on that soundtrack. But yeah, I never ever play outside music when I'm playing a game. Next up, could you ever learn to play video games using the claw technique? Are you familiar with the? All right, look up the claw controller technique. The answer is fucking no. No. It's basically you use your middle finger for the triggers on the right, and your index finger is in front of the controller pressing the buttons while you're playing. So basically you can have a finger on both the face buttons and the triggers.
Well, I'd say advantages. I see advantages to that.
But we've never played games like that. Can you imagine switching to that after 30 plus years of playing video games?
Nico, do you play like that? I'm curious.
I don't think he does. Apparently, there's a really good Rocket League player that plays like that.
Okay.
It's just I can't imagine. Like, and it's not that I think it's a stupid way to play. I just can't imagine switching from.
Really?
I just can't imagine.
Like that.
I can't imagine playing 30 plus years of holding the controller like I do and switching that up.
I might try it like as an experimental.
I'm just gonna hold it like this. See, no, dude, this is weird. This is here. I'm gonna. Like, this is what that looks like. I hate it. Nick, I hate it.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that thing.
Oh, it's so stupid. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that 360 controller.
I know, right? Classic. Well, the thing with that then, too, is so you're not allowed to use the right bumper anymore. Like, well, you can, but...
that seems weird going back and forth. Oh. Yeah, see, that's the thing is you can't have two trigger bumper. Yeah, I don't know.
Like that would be weird for like Gears because you're using the right trigger as your reload button, but
people be crazy. All right, finally, you're offered $1,000 to play one game for 24 hours. Your choices are Dark Souls, the original Dark Souls, Fall Guys, Kitten Squad, or Ark. What game are you choosing, and do you think you can make it the whole 24 hours? See, in the Discord, Nick put that he put the $1,000. He put a lower number because obviously if you say $1 million, you'll do it. Nick, $1,000 is still a lot of money, so I would do it anyway. But in the spirit of it, I would choose Dark Souls, and here's why.
Oh boy.
If I'm going with these 4 games.
Oh man.
Ark is shit. I don't want to play a shit game. Kitten Squad and Fall Guys are the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. I want to play something where there's a chance I don't finish it in the 24. I mean, let's be real. I'm not finishing Dark Souls in 24 hours. So I want something where there's going to be something new the whole time. Like Fall Guys is fun. I like Fall Guys, and Kitten Squad is actually not that bad of a game, but it's so repetitive. Like, can you? I just can't imagine.
I will say this to what you were saying in regards to Dark Souls. Yes, that there is a huge world in front of you that you can explore and definitely, bring variety to your gameplay, especially over 24 hours. There is a part, though, I must warn you. I'll give you a little star next to your answer, in case you want to pull out from Dark Souls, is that if you die at a boss, you have to go back to the last bonfire that you're lit. You have to go back to that boss to recover your souls, basically. If you die again, though, on your way to getting your souls,
you lose the souls forever.
You've lost everything.
Yeah, no, I'm aware.
And I can't tell you. There's a boss that I ran into. Little segue before I give my answer. Actually, I have a question before I give my answer.
Okay.
There was this ridiculous griffin thing on top of the roof, and that sucker owned me left. I literally thought, I was like, okay, I must be going the wrong way. That game lends itself to really corralling a player just by the natural systems that are within. Like if you go the wrong direction in dark and oh god, what is that place? Anyway, if you go the wrong direction, if you go down instead of up, when you get there, you will be faced with enemies that are well beyond your levels. So you're like, okay, if I can't go this way, I'm gonna go that way. Well, there was a part where I literally just put hours and hours and hours in, died, and I'm like, oh my god, okay, that's fine. I understand what I have to do. I have to go all the way back to get my souls again, which is fine. Where the souls were literally was behind this boss.
Perfect.
And I'm literally standing there with nothing. And I'm just like, well, I pretty much just and I literally tried to skirt the outside. I was like, okay, if I can just run past him, grab my souls, get the fuck out of there, and I can regroup or whatever. Yeah, see, even Nico Bambi's laughing at the Griffin. He fucking sucks. It literally lent myself, and when I say hours in, this is maybe only a few hours in. My concern about that is that, okay, you've done that. Now either your choice is to start the game over again, which, can be a trial, or try repeatedly to get past that Griffin, or and knowing the fact that you've already lost your souls, period. So, that's just the one caveat I'd like to
sure.
And I know you've never played that game.
Well, look, I know I would get frustrated very quickly and everything like that, but I just feel like Josh said earlier, Fall Guys is one of those games where it's really, really good and fun, but after about an hour or so,
yeah,
it really starts to lose its luster, and the music, you'll get grating, and I just don't know. And Ark is such a bad game. I've played enough of it like a little bit of it, and know about that game enough to know I can't do Ark.
And so that's my question: is why is Ark a bad game? I've not touched it, so I'm not like being like, oh, why is
So
this a bad game? Why? I
it's
really have
a
never seen this thing.
it's a couple of things. One, it is I have not played it. I have not played it in a while. But so who knows? Maybe
Josh has
maybe.
played it for 2 hours and he's done.
But to me, that is a poorly made game. I don't think it's a
Okay.
good. I don't think it's a very well made game. I think it's boring.
Sure, I'll
I think it looks like shit. I think the way that they handle the free to play stuff sucks. And it's just like the survival type thing is not my bag to begin with. And
Okay.
I don't know. I just games like that have never, because there's games like that, and oh god, what's the other one? Rust.
Okay.
Games like that. I never have gotten into those kind of free to play style. Um,
You never played Subnautica, did you?
no.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with Ark?
It's one of those things where you're literally dropped in and you have to
Oh,
survive.
sure,
Um,
yeah, but Subnautica I know is a good game.
Yeah.
I know it's a well-made game, but yeah. So
Of
I just
course.
and Kitten Squad is another one of those like Fall Guys where it's like it's neat, but it gets grating, and like the cat stuff is just like eventually gets to the point where you're just like fucking cats, god damn it, and so like I think there's enough variety in Dark Souls, as maddening as that game would probably get. There's enough variety to where that's the one of the four I would select. And like I said, Nick, you should have been like $20 or something, because like if you're telling me you're gonna give me $1,000 to do something for 24 hours, I'm fucking doing it. But that's because I'm a cheapskate. Anyway, did you ever pick a game? You didn't pick a
Yeah,
game.
I was gonna say, yeah, I mean, like I wanted a full answer to that question. And I mean, I've never touched the game. Like I've played Kitten Squad for like a minute and I'm like, this ain't for me.
Right.
I'm this is
You
this
know what
tries
that game is in
this
5 minutes.
It's like this is like Hotline Miami but horrible.
Sure. I don't know about horrible, but yes, I know what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
not it's not Hotline Miami.
Yeah, and
We play some fucking Hotline Miami.
yeah, I mean, let me all right, I'll backtrack. It's not horrible, it's just not for me.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've played Dark Souls, and oh my god, just the idea of having to traverse those, hallways again and having to parry and parry, and maybe I'll do better this time. I agree with you. Like, look, I don't think, as much as I tried to be enthusiastic about that game, as excited as we were about that game when it first came out, Fall Guys is what it is, and it's very shallow. And you're right. Like once that song starts to like embed itself into your cerebellum, I'd probably look for something on my desk and try to, remove it surgically.
Yeah. Not enough variety in that stuff. So
Yeah. And so I mean, I would pick Ark literally through ignorance because
I can see
don't
that.
know what
Sure.
it is. I like survival games like that. I mean, funny enough, like, we had a little discussion about like the type of games that we both like, and it's very contrasting. I would have to be in a different, like, again, you said $1,000. I can soldier through that in order to, make a monetary gain.
Sure.
Um,
See, and that's why I think I could soldier through Dark Souls, because it's like
yeah,
But if it was like, hey, what if we gave you $50 and you have to play one of those four games? I'd be like, yeah, that's all right. I'll just go play Rocket League for free.
I played enough, like, again, I don't know how much worse this game is compared to a game like Subnautica. Subnautica is great. That game is about as exciting as it is terrifying. The idea of just being in dark water just fills me with thrills that you can't even imagine.
You're not helping your cause of getting you to
Um,
play this game.
no, but that's what I'm saying
Nah,
is
I
that
know.
like
I know.
even though I was like scared out of my gourd sometimes about like okay, I don't even want to get off this like freaking sand shelf because I know what's out there. I've seen it. Like it's big and it's tried to eat me several times. Um a game like Ark, and it's got dinosaurs. You know, I like dinosaurs, and like, granted, I know like if I did play this game, there would be moments where I'm like, all right, what is that under the brush? What's that sound? I would be turning, but like if I were streaming it, I'd be turning back at my door, every 10 seconds, like I did with the
You can
RE2 stream.
you can poop in it. So that's
So
that,
really,
so
there's a
that's positive. You can poop in it. Anyway. All right.
is there a mechanic though? Like if you poop,
Mhm.
is there a mechanic that like you like okay I have to do this in a certain way, I have to cover it up, or dinosaurs will be attracted to it?
I don't think it's that in depth.
I was gonna say is the system that deep?
Yeah, I think you're asking a lot of Ark. Anyway. All right, well that was good. That's a good question.
They did enough to make an Arc 2
Yeah, with Vin Diesel.
with Vin
Well, here's
Diesel,
the
so
thing. It's one of those games. It's very much like those mobile games that are free but make a shit ton of money. That's one of those games that makes so much money because the people that play that game fucking love that game.
yeah, that's what I understand.
But I just don't think it's very good. I just don't think it's very good. I'm interested to see how much Vin Diesel is in that game. Anyway, thank you guys so much for the questions. We absolutely appreciate it each and every week. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Nico. Good questions this week. We're going to move on. We're going to get down with that last segment. And it's the banger. And now, it's time for Tuesday Night Scatter Shooting with your pal Mitch Bernard right here on the MC Gamescast. All right, Jim, thank you so much for the intro. Appreciate it. It's good to be back, everybody. It's good to be back in the driver's seat of scatter shooting.
Jim had more beer than I did.
Interesting things coming down the pipeline for my side of scatter shooting. I know Charlie had a nice little twist to his. I believe next time I'll have a twist to mine. But for now, scatter shooting and wondering whatever happened to single-player Grand Theft Auto. It seems that they don't make single-player Grand Theft Auto anymore. It's all about that Grand Theft Auto Online.
Oh boy.
Grand Theft Auto 6. By the way, Charlie, I just want to mention this. I watched a video today. The actors that played Franklin and Lamar in Grand Theft Auto 5. You know the scene right after they go and steal the first couple of cars, and Lamar is giving Franklin crap about getting with the ladies.
Yeah.
And it's that first moment where you're like, fucking Lamar is the best character in this game.
Oh gosh.
Those two actors went and reenacted that scene in real life, and it is hilarious. You should watch it.
Where's this at?
I saw it on Kotaku. It's great.
Oh my gosh.
I'll just say this: don't play it in public because they use all the words from that scene. But anyway. Ladies and gentlemen.
All the words.
Yeah, all the real bad ones. Ladies and gentlemen, before we dive into 2021 in video games, we should take one last look at some of the numbers from a very weird 2020 in video games. It is no surprise that video games on mobile led the way in the market value of 2020 with $86.3 billion in revenue, which made up 49% of the total revenue of video games sold. Basically, of video games, the amount that was sold. $51.2 billion in revenue for console games and $37.6 billion for PC games. Digital purchases have all but killed the physical market, with 91% of total game sales being purchased digitally, including 98% on PC. And this surprised me a lot. I thought this would be a lot lower. 72% of console sales were digital. It's almost here. The digital age is almost here. Let's take a look at the top 10 best-selling games in the United States for 2020. The top 2, no surprise, Call of Duty. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 and 2. Number 3, the quarantine game of the year, Animal Crossing. Then, of course, Madden 21 was number 4. The Last of Us Part 2 was number 5. Ghost of Tsushima, number 6. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, 7. Final Fantasy VII, the remake, 8. This was kind of surprising. Number 9, Marvel's Avengers. That's a lot of disappointed people. And finally, number 10, Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Speaking of disappointing. According to Metacritic, the highest rated release of 2020 was Persona 5 Royal Edition for the PlayStation 4, with the lowest going to a game called Tiny Racer on the Nintendo Switch, which had a Metacritic rating of 32%.
Wow.
2020 was the year of iteration, not innovation in terms of video game releases. New IPs were for sure at a premium. Sony released 12 in-house games. Only 2 of them were new IPs. Microsoft had 10 in-house with only 2 brand new. And Nintendo had 17 in-house releases. Only 2 of those were brand new IPs. So if you were looking for new in 2020, you weren't really going to find it. What about the most Googled games of 2020? No surprise that number 1 and 2 were the 2 indie titles of the year, with Among Us followed by Fall Guys. Third, you had Valorant, which was the Half-Life Counter-Strike clone, and followed by the free-to-play hit Genshin Impact. What about viewed games on YouTube? Well, the most watched game on YouTube, unsurprisingly, Minecraft, with 201 billion views, which was 125 billion views more than number 2 on the list, which was Roblox. And lastly, the most discussed games on Twitter, which they took this by retweets. Number 1, Final Fantasy XIV, the online MMO, was number 1 this year, which I did not have that coming into this year. Number 2, Animal Crossing. Number 3, Cyberpunk, with both the hype and the fallout. Number 4, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. And finally, Fall Guys. So 2020 was definitely a big year for video games. And, you know, if you really want to look at it for what it is, really kind of just same old for video games. But now we're done with 2020.
The pandemic helped a lot.
Yeah, it certainly did. Yeah, the thing that really struck me was the digital sales. It was pretty incredible. And finally, Donkey Kong is sitting at the doctor's office. Dr. Mario walks in and says, "I have some bad news, Donkey Kong. I'm afraid you're going to have to stop masturbating." "I don't understand, Doc. Why do I have to stop?" DK says. "Because," Dr. Mario says, "I'm trying to examine you." Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for listening and watching Tuesday Night Scatter Shooting with your old pal, Mitch Bernarderant. That's Mitch Barrett right here on the MC Gamescast.
It's getting harder and harder to pronounce.
You see, Charlie, Donkey Kong was masturbating in front of Dr. Mario. I just thought.
I get that.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Right,
all right, we're going to get out of here now. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of episode 23 of the MC Gamescast. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out tonight. Shut up. Jesus. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for being here. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance is still on the screen.
Yeah. There it is.
A game so good that we're just going to leave it on there forever. It's faded away. Thank you guys for hanging out and watching. Thanks everybody listening on all the wonderful podcast networks. Leave us a review. 5 stars, especially if you like us. And if you don't like us, still give us 5 stars. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Charlie, close is over. Does that mean that you will be returning?
Yeah, man. We are back in the wasteland.
Airwaves.
We are back in the wasteland. I'm going to be on, if not tomorrow, Thursday. We're now in Diamond City, and I'm smelling a new companion named Mr. Valentine that I've been really looking forward to picking up. I'm having fun with that game. God, that game is better than what was purported to be, and unfortunately Fallout 76 kind of covered it all. But you know, that game's great. What about you, bud?
Yeah, I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna get back on that Breath of the Wild, because I had a blast playing that the other day. I don't know if I'll do it tomorrow, but definitely Friday. Obviously Rocket League. I feel like I'm kind of back when it comes to streaming. I've had a good time the last couple times I've streamed. But you know, I'm kind of taking it slowly. I do want to get back into the community stuff at some point. I want to do the the Among Us stuff. So
we need to do another Among Us weekend.
Yeah, we do. We'll do that again soon. I kind of like the idea of you and I kind of switching off each week, doing the Among Us, do a Friday night, and then the Saturday night, kind of every other week. But anyway, well, that's good. I'm glad we're going to be able to get back into the swing of things. I'm going to start this music.
Oh yeah, there's music.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we're back in the swing of things. We're going to be back to the weekly podcast, especially now that fucking close is over.
Yes.
So Charlie will be back on Thursday and Sunday. I'll be back probably tomorrow, but definitely Friday. And I started the music too late, and now I have to vamp a little bit more. Yeah, so video games.
Man, I'm definitely gonna go check out Dust Elysian Tale a little more. I've got some more Hades I gotta play. And like I said, get a Steam account, because oh my gosh, you will spend little and a lot of money.
That's right. And for Charlie Zarzuela, I'm Mitchell Barrett. This is the MC Gamescast. We all love you so much. Goodbye, everybody. Yeah.